start. MTC. Day 23, Number 1. Catherine Schreiber and Leslie Sim, experts on exercise addiction, recognized that smartwatches and fitness trackers have probably inspired sedentary people to take up exercise, and encouraged people who aren't very active to exercise more consistently. Catherine Schreiber, Leslie Sim. But they were convinced the devices were also quite dangerous. Schreiber explained that focusing on numbers separates people from being in tune with their body. Schreiber. Exercising becomes mindless, which is the goal of addiction. This goal that she mentioned is a sort of automatic mindlessness, the outsourcing of decision-making to a device. She recently sustained a stress fracture in her foot because she refused to listen to her overworked body, instead continuing to run toward an unreasonable workout target. Schreiber has suffered from addictive exercise tendencies, and vows not to use wearable tech when she works out. Schreiber. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 23, Number 2. Veblen goods are named after Thorstein Veblen, a U.S. economist who formulated the theory of conspicuous consumption. Veblen goods, Thorstein Veblen. They are strange because demand for them increases as their price rises. According to Veblen, these goods must signal high status. Veblen. A willingness to pay higher prices is due to a desire to advertise wealth rather than to acquire better quality. A true Veblen good, therefore, should not be noticeably higher quality than the lower-priced equivalents. If the price falls so much that it is no longer high enough to exclude the less well-off, the rich will stop buying it. There is much evidence of this behavior in the markets for luxury cars, champagne, watches, and certain clothing labels. A reduction in prices might see a temporary increase in sales for the seller, but then sales will begin to fall. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 23, Number 3. The liberalization of capital markets, where funds for investment can be borrowed, has been an important contributor to the pace of globalization. Since the 1970s there has been a trend towards a freer flow of capital across borders. 1970. Current economic theory suggests that this should aid development. Developing countries have limited domestic savings with which to invest in growth, and liberalization allows them to tap into a global pool of funds. A global capital market also allows investors greater scope to manage and spread their risks. However, some say that a freer flow of capital has raised the risk of financial instability. The East Asian crisis of the late 1990s came in the wake of this kind of liberalization. 1990. Without a strong financial system and a sound regulatory environment, capital market globalization can sow the seeds of instability in economies rather than growth. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 23, Number 4. Power distance is the term used to refer to how widely an unequal distribution of power is accepted by the members of a culture. It relates to the degree to which the less powerful members of a society accept their inequality in power and consider it the norm. In cultures with high acceptance of power distance, e.g., India, Brazil, Greece, Mexico, and the Philippines, people are not viewed as equals, and everyone has a clearly defined or allocated place in the social hierarchy. In cultures with low acceptance of power distance, e.g., Finland, Norway, New Zealand, and Israel, people believe inequality should be minimal, and a hierarchical division is viewed as one of convenience only. In these cultures, there is more fluidity within the social hierarchy, and it is relatively easy for individuals to move up the social hierarchy based on their individual efforts and achievements. MTC. Good job. Let's start. MTC. Day 23, Number 5-6. In 2009, Emily Holmes asked a group of adults to watch a video featuring 11 clips of traumatic content including graphic real scenes of human surgery and fatal road traffic accidents. 2009 Emily Holmes. This was their trauma simulation, and the participants were indeed traumatized. Before watching the video, they reported feeling calm and relaxed. Afterward they were disturbed and anxious. Holmes forced the adults to wait for 30 minutes. Holmes 30. Then, half the participants played a block-matching puzzle video game for 10 minutes, while the other half sat quietly. 10. The adults went home for a week, and recorded their thoughts in a daily diary. Once a day they recalled the scenes from the video that replayed in their minds. Those who had sat quietly after watching the video experienced an average of 6 flashbacks, those who had played the game experienced an average of fewer than 3. 6. 3. The video game, with its colors and music and rotating blocks, prevented the initial traumatic memories from solidifying. The game soaked up the mental attention that might have otherwise moved those horrific memories to long-term memory, and so they were stored imperfectly or not at all. At the end of the week, the adults returned to the lab, and those who had been lucky enough to play the game reported fewer psychiatric symptoms. The video game had functioned as a cognitive vaccine, the researchers explained. Day 24. MTC. Good job.